Yes, as Nigeria continues to wobble in the throes of what seems its terminus, and as the implementation of the constitutional force majeure continues in full speed, even as politicians continue to pretend they do not, hear the demands of the people, they continue to defy the people. We come to you again from the Secretariat of the Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination, NINAS, to respond to some of the concerns that have been coming back to us from those who have been trying to wake up others into the need to stop the journey to the election so that we can fix the damaged constitutional basis of Nigeria. And, some out of ignorance, others out of mischief. There's this thinking that if we get to election, if NINAS does not stop the election, if Tony does not stop the election, then NINAS has failed. And therefore, Nigeria will go on the basis of the 1999 Constitution forever. That is just self-deceit. For us to understand the nature of our intervention is transcendental. It's coming from somewhere. Perhaps it's necessary to let those who thought NINAS just got together yesterday to know where the matter is coming from, how it got to where it is, and where it's going to land. Because what we're talking about could happen in terms of, should happen in terms of when, before going to the next election. What we're talking about could happen by itself, even during the election, with all the mago-mago and wuru-wuru that characterized the journey to that election. You saw the electoral bill, you saw the National Assembly, doing what he did. You saw the president doing the one he did, say, oh, I signed, but you go and change. National Assembly say no. Then people went to court in Omaha, and then the Attorney General suddenly becomes one who obeys the rule of law, and therefore going to alter the finished process. So all those mago-mago and wuru-wuru will lead to its own kata-kata that could consume the election itself. But let's even assume matters proceed beyond the election, and they declare a winner and swear in the winner. Would the problem go away? Would that constitution become, legitimate? Would that constitution become something that's not acceptable the day after? The answer is no. And so, the only thing we're trying to avoid is a situation where those who are choking under that constitution, those who have been defied by the ones rushing to election now, will decide to help themselves. Because if they are being killed, if their assets are being taken, and all of that, they're not going to fold their arms because you had an election. Let us not wait for that day when the one who will be declared winner, who will be sworn in, will discover that there's no Nigeria to govern. I repeat, let's not wait for that day when the one who will be declared the winner of 2023 election, that the more than 150 million people are saying, let us stop. Let us repair the ship of state. Let us reconstruct the damaged constitutional basis of Nigeria, because constitution is union agreement. That's what it simply means. And so if the union agreement we had at independence have been done away with by people who imposed the unitary system we have now, the 1999 Constitution in its current form, are refusing to listen. And then the ones who have endured for 22 years are now coming to where they say it must end here and no more. That's what we're trying to manage, so that we can keep violence and commotion out of the entire process. And therefore we had offered transition. We are not anarchists, so we say let those in government house remain, like South Africa did to ease itself out of apartheid constitutional order. Just to back up a little, let us remember that it was a 20-year plan that was deployed in 1999 to ease Nigeria out of the unitary quagmire that it fell into since 1967. Therefore, the first order of business was to call a meeting of all, the one we called PRONACO, that went on between 2005, 2006, to agree on what would be acceptable to everybody. We succeeded in that. We then moved on in 2007 to file a suit challenging the legitimacy of the Constitution. And that suit, I'm sure many will remember, that we had plaintiffs like the chief plaintiff was Nohoro, Anthony Nohoro. We had Shoyinka, we had Ojukwu, we have CCO No, we had Bankole Oki, Bishop Bonigi, and the rest of them, Asari Dokubo and Owazurike, were still being held for treason by Obasanjo at the time. And so they were all, plaintiffs in the suit. The responsibility to file that suit fell on me, so I can report on it, that we went out there to say, we did not make this constitution. Let us take some time out and go into transition so that the matter doesn't resolve itself on the street. Of course, they ignored it and went on to the next election. We kept reaching out to mobilize those who are suffering from all aspects of that constitution. The ones whose oil and gas assets are seized in the Niger Delta, the ones who have been slaughtered in the Middle Belt, the ones who have been molested in Yoruba land, everywhere. And we took the matter even further to the international arena, where the owners of oil and gas assets in the Niger Delta were now, having to contend with people who are blowing up pipelines, just trying to bring some kind of framework that will, shut out violence. And so, having gone from creating that the original consensus, against unitarism, to the consensus against that constitution, to the consensus for the time frame within which this matter had to be resolved, and it came to 2018 after the solemn assemblies from the regional blocks. 2015 was the one of Port Harcourt, 2017 was the one in Ibadan, 2018 was the one in Makurdi, where the regional blocks, the three blocks in the alliance, had repudiated that constitution to the seeing of the world. And we went out there in 2019 to tell the international stakeholders between Washington and New York to say, look, this is what's happening in our space, in case it becomes a little more manageable, so that everybody could understand it. We've done all of that, and then the constitutional force majeure was the culmination, because there are some people who are thinking that NINAS came together only 3 days ago. The constitutional force majeure of 16th December 2020 was the culmination of this 20-year process that became 22 because of Corona. We lost 1 year. And so just we went back to this bit of detail to let our people know that in saying that we cannot endure this master-servant union, this union of death any further, as imposed by this constitution, he was to say this is when it must end if we're to discuss it under a roof. And we're saying we're doing everything we can to make it end that peacefully, so that the replacement could come from negotiations and discussions, not in commotion and rowdiness on the street. But it appears there are the political actors who are thinking that, well, let's just fight on and defeat them, go to election, and then be happy ever after. It's not going to be so. And we're just telling our people that even if they stubbornly proceed to election, the winner of that election will discover that there's no Nigeria to govern the day after. That is what, let Atiku hear it, let Obi hear it, let whoever is going to win that election in 2023 hear it, that the 1999 constitution has been rejected by the owners of the land, and that anybody who is hoping to hang on to that fraud as basis of governmental power and authority, as dictated in section 14(2)A of that constitution, is going to find out that there's no Nigeria to govern. We have plenty of time, almost 1 year from this time. Instead of going to waste everybody's time with party primary and party convention and nomination, we can see all of the madness going on. Nobody is discussing the constitution by which the winner will govern. And so let it be clear that the fact that they wobble on, they ignore everybody and defy everybody and get to election does not at all slow what is. This is a machinery, and it will get to its destination. That's an assurance. Not many people understood what we were saying in 2007. Not many understood in 2011. By the time we got to 2015, the noise of Buhari will solve all our problems overtook everybody. They didn't listen. By 2019, they carried on. But everybody can see it now. And so those who are the receiving end of all that madness, we're just telling everybody on behalf of this alliance that unless we resolve the union agreement that has gone bad, those who want to cling on to the fraud of 1999 as basis of presiding over the union are going to find out on the streets that they really have no Nigeria to govern. The Yoruba are saying it, the eastern side saying it, the middle belt saying it, that that Nigeria defined by that constitution is no longer their project. I think we can leave it here.